The year is 416 BC, and the city-states of the ancient Greek world are engulfed in the Peloponnesian Wars. The Delian League led by Athens and the Peloponnesian League led by Sparta are fighting for dominance. An Athenian expedition of 38 ships with over 3,000 men has just landed on the neutral island of Melos off the Greek coast, with two simple demands. Melos must join the Delian League, becoming an ally of Athens, and pay a tribute of 15 talents of silver, a significant amount for the prosperous island, which although ethnically similar to Sparta didn't fight for it. The alternative for the Melians was destruction, and due to the writings of the historian Thucydides and his account of the Peloponnesian Wars, we have a dramatised transcript of the conversation between the Athenian emissaries and the Melians, which has come to be known as the Melian dialogue, and is studied in the field of international relations to this day, since it relates to the themes of empire, neutrality, and morality. The Athenian position can be summarised with them famously stating, "The strong do what they have the power to do, and the weak accept what they have to accept." This implies that might is right, and claims that allowing the Melians to live freely would be a sign of weakness from the Athenians. They believe in a Machiavellian sense that they must expand their empire and collect tribute and vassals to maintain their power, which is the only thing that both gods and men respect. This phrase is echoed through history, which is pretty much the story of people with unbridled power doing whatever they can get away with to hold on to power and gain more of it, whilst those without power suffer what they must. The Melians argue that what Athens, the birthplace of democracy, is doing in dominating weaker societies is immoral, and that there are many more factors at play than the brute strength of the Athenian empire, meaning that should hostilities commence and Athens expand its empire, then external factors such as the Melian Spartan allies will restore the balance of power, and Athens will be weakened because the gods will grant fortune to the defenders, because they're standing up for what is right against what is wrong, in not surrendering the liberty that they've enjoyed for 700 years. They state, "We trust that the gods may grant us fortune as good as yours, since we are just men fighting against unjust." The Athenians also claim that them attempting to dominate Melos is in accordance with the law which they believe has always existed, that being the right of conquest, and that if the Melians were in their position, they would be acting in the same way. This viewpoint can be described as political realism, and for this reason they claim that the Melians can't expect any more favour from the gods than they can, also claiming that the Melians are seeing the slim possibility of their victory as a certainty, and not using the common sense that would encourage surrender with such a power disparity. The viewpoint of the Melians can be described as political idealism, similar to the ideas of Kant about the altruism of humans. This doesn't mean pacifism. It's important to note that Melos did choose to go to war to protect its sovereignty, in a similar sense to the Allies in World War II, but did not possess military superiority. Athens would lay siege to and destroy Melos in the winter of the same year. They executed all of the men of fighting age, and then sold all the women and children into slavery.
You were right about one thing, Master. The negotiations were short.
Before settling 500 Athenian colonists on the island. This is famous as the worst atrocity committed by a usually decent society. The Athenian principle that the strong do what they have the power to do and the weak accept what they have to is a pessimistic one, since humans are not purely power-seeking creatures, and there isn't a finite amount of quality of life in the world, meaning that another state having liberty doesn't take away from your own state's liberty. Power politics definitely has a place in the world, and it is how the world operates, but the Athenians are wrong to state that it's the only paradigm in history. Athens would go on to lose the Peloponnesian War, as well as their hegemony over the Mediterranean. Melos was liberated in 405, and the Spartan liberators expelled the Athenian settlers. History continued. So it's hard to say who was right, because whilst the Melians were correct in the long term, and did regain a sort of liberty following the war, they should have accepted reality in the moment and accepted the Athenian terms and survived. Thanks for watching.
That's a nice argument, Senator. Why don't you back it up with a source?
My source is... I will see the galaxy freed once more. And if I cannot save it from your